Welcome to yoga. I'm Rebecca, and this is our last class of 2022. Cancer Support Community is closed for the winter holidays, for winter break, and we will not be back again until that first week in January. So I hope that you will go to the website and do some classes, find those recordings, and you can go to my YouTube channel as well and do some yoga during the holidays. Keep up with your practice. As we talked over the last couple of weeks about how important it is to stay grounded, stay focused and calm and centered during this whirlwind, whatever that is for you during the holidays. So make sure that you have resources, that you have support for that practice. Okay, so today's class is rest, recharge. It's a restorative practice, as I've said, and you need to have some extra props available. We've gone over that. So let's go ahead and begin supine, lying on your back. So go ahead and make your way onto your back. Feel free to have a small flat pillow under your head, to have those extra props nearby so that you can grab them while you're lying down. Feel free to bend your knees or extend your legs for the moment if that's more comfortable, or put a pillow underneath your knees. So this is part 3 of my 3-part holiday series. We talked first about balance, and we've talked about presence. To find balance, we pair action within action, excitement with calm, energy with surrender. To be present, we find stillness, to hear our inner voice so that we can stoke the fire of our energy and keep that fire burning. So how do we find rest? Getting quiet. So what are your current practices for getting quiet? Maybe yoga, meditation. Maybe you like to sing like I do, although my voice is a little croaky today. Listening to music, reading, walking, watching the sunset, watching the sunrise. Winter is a perfect time for rest and hibernation. Cozy and warm by the fire, if we are so fortunate, and surrounded by loved ones, again, if we are so fortunate. So let's move into a gentle practice. Allow your knees to bend. If you have a pillow there, go ahead and slide it to the side. Have your knees pointing up towards the ceiling and your feet and knees about hip distance apart. Walk your feet up close to your body. Take a moment to feel the ground beneath you. Now, we are not outside because for most of us it's chilly where we are, but imagine that the floor beneath you represents the surface of the earth, our connection to our big, beautiful planet. So take a moment to just notice the support beneath you. Allow your arms maybe to rest at your sides or place them on your belly, palms open. Allow your breath to flow smoothly. With each inhale, feel a sense of elongating your spine, getting nice and long. With each exhale, release just a little bit more into the ground beneath you. Feeling those points of contact, your feet, your hips, your shoulders, your arms and hands and the back of your head, all getting a little bit heavier with each exhale. Surrendering. Restorative practice is a lot about letting go, releasing, surrendering, allowing yourself to be supported. So let's create comfort and support so that release, that letting go can happen. We'll move into a gentle pelvic tilt first. Inhale in place and then exhale and press the small of your back into the mat beneath you. As you inhale, just release that press and allow that natural curve of the lumbar spine to come back. Exhale and press again, flattening your back. And we'll continue this pelvic tilt, this rock, for several breaths, just moving with your breath. This gentle rock. Make it slow and steady, like your breath. And this, or the next time that you're exhaling, pause there and draw your knees up, hugging them in towards your shoulders, maybe one hand on each knee, or maybe you can wrap your arms around your shins, making yourself into a nice little cozy ball. Maybe you'd like to rock a little bit from side to side. And then slowly release your feet, maybe one at a time, back to the mat. Keep your knees bent and walk your feet out towards the outer edges of your mat to the side. And then allow your knees to drop to the left. Inhale up through center and then exhale, drop your knees to the right. Inhale through center and keep moving with this little windshield wiper action. Moving with your breath. One movement per inhale, one movement per exhale. And if you find that you'd like to stay with your knees resting to one side, if that feels really good, then stay for a breath or two and continue the movement. Take your time. And when you feel like your twisting practice is complete, and draw your knees once again up and in towards your shoulders. Maybe one hand on each knee or hugging in. And we'll continue. So when you can, look up and I'll show you the setup for our next pose. We're going to work with fish pose. Actually, I want to do it this way. So I'm taking my blanket and I'm going to make just a couple of folds, maybe one or two, and the folds should be several inches, right? So it's not a roll, it's nice flat fold. And then I'm going to place the blanket down on my mat. So maybe I'll come back here so you can see me better. Okay, so I'm placing this blanket down on my mat. And then I'm going to lie down on the blanket, and I'm going to have this folded section right underneath my shoulder blades, like below my shoulder blades. For those of us who choose or have to wear bras, it'll be right at the bra line. And so right underneath, not below, not underneath your shoulder blades, but below your shoulder blades. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to lie down and allow my shoulders to drop all the way to the mat, right? So my shoulders are making contact with the floor, and this little folded part of the blanket is below my shoulder, the edge of my shoulder blades, and underneath at where the bra line would be if you wore a bra. You can have your knees bent and your arms can come out in a T shape, and they should be above the blanket, so resting on the floor. Now take a moment here to notice if this feels comfortable. You should be feeling a lot of opening through your chest, through the front of your shoulders. If it's painful, please roll to one side and come off and unfold the blanket. Maybe one fold, maybe making it a lower prop. And then try a couple of times to get it where it is creating opening, but is comfortable for you. And once you have your setup, get into place. If it's comfortable for you, you can extend your legs long or keep your knees bent if that feels better. This is supported fish pose. And let's take several breaths. Inhaling right into the center of the heart, feeling that area expand. Exhale, soften and let go. Let your shoulders drop. Let your arms be heavy. Let your hips be heavy and the back of your head, your feet. With each inhale, open. With each exhale, soften and settle into the pose. We'll rest for several breaths here. If at any point this becomes uncomfortable, roll to the side and slide the blanket out. Releasing, letting go, surrendering. Inhaling to open the heart. Take just a few more breaths. And then slowly roll to one side so that you can slide the blanket out. Go ahead and fold it up, and we'll make it into a pillow for our next pose. I'm actually going to make mine a little wider, so like this. And once you have your props, and again, have things close by, go ahead and lie down on one side, bringing your head, if it's comfortable, onto your folded blanket for a little bit of support. Bend your knees and have your hips and knees at right angles. Maybe you'd like a pillow or a folded blanket between your knees. That's maybe supportive for your hips. Actually, I'm going to double this up to give me more support underneath my head. So once you find your way into this side lying position, come to stillness, extending your arms out in front of you. Maybe palms meet. Take a moment to rest and let go into the supports beneath you. Feel the pillow or whatever you have beneath your head. Maybe you have something between your knees and the ground beneath you. And then on an inhale, we're going to open up with the top arm just until you're pointing your fingers right to the ceiling. Exhale and close, coming back to your starting position. Inhale and open, fingers point to the ceiling. Exhale and close. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Now you can stay with that movement, or as you inhale, begin to roll your shoulders down and open into a twist. Exhale, roll back to your starting position. Inhale, open, let both of your shoulders come towards the ground, your other arm comes down. Exhale and roll back to your starting position. Stay with either of those two movements, or find your way into a twist and stay. Take your time, either moving gently or resting in your twist. And another option is just resting on your side. Exploring this opening, this twist. And then resting. Take your time until you're ready to pause on this side and slowly roll to the other side. Take a moment to set yourself up. Extending your arms, bending your knees, bending at the hips, maybe something between your knees. Arms extended in front of you, palms together.
if that's comfortable. On an inhale, open your top arm just until the fingers are pointing to the ceiling. Exhale and close, coming back to your starting position. Inhale and open. Exhale and close. Inhale to open. And exhale to close. Stay with this movement, or inhale, allowing your shoulders to roll to the ground, and open. Maybe this arm is extended. Maybe you come into a cactus arm. Exhale and roll back to your side and close. Inhale, find your opening. Exhale and close. Take your time moving with your breath, or find a position to rest in. Maybe it's in a twist. Maybe it's lying on your side. Several breaths here. Taking your time and taking your rest. When you're resting, make sure that you're comfortable. And when you feel ready, roll to one side so that you can look up here. We have one more side-lying twisting pose. So for this pose, I'm going to have the blanket or a pillow for my head. And then I've brought my bolster over and I'm going to lay it down in front of me. I will lie down on my side, bend my knees, hips and knees, but this time I'm going to bring the bolster in so that my knees are resting on the bolster. We'll start right here in the same position of arms extended. And this time I'm going to trace a rainbow above my head. And again, open into a twist. As I close, I can trace that rainbow once again over my head. Hope you're not getting feedback from my AirPods. Inhale, circling overhead. Bend your elbow as much as you need to. And you can also hover your arm. And open into the twist. Hopefully the bolster is giving you a little more support. And then roll back. Take your time with this opener. And then when you find a comfortable twist, stay. Breathing into the sensations. Taking more support if you need it. Or finding a different position entirely if what I'm showing is not comfortable. You can rest on your side. You can rest in another twist. You can roll to your back if you'd like. We'll take several breaths here. And the next time that you come to your side, pause here, and then we'll roll to the other side. If you have another bolster, you can have it there or bring the first one with you. Shifting it over. And again, finding that position on your side. Knees bent, resting on the bolster, arms extended in front. Maybe you can, pardon me, begin to trace that rainbow overhead and open into your twist. Exhale and roll back to your sideline position. Inhale and open. Maybe your elbow is very bent. Or maybe you can extend your arm and open into the twist. Continue with movement or come to stillness in the twist. Stay here if you'd like. And then ultimately find your way back to your side and rest. Take your time and take care of yourself. And when you feel like you've worked to both sides as needed, roll onto your back. Adjust whatever's underneath your head for comfort. Knees are bent, feet on the floor on your mat. Walk your feet out towards the outer edges of your mat. And then let your knees drop towards each other. Readjust to find comfort in this position. This is a version of constructive rest pose. It helps to release some of the deep postural muscles, your hip flexors, your low back. So find your version of constructive rest pose. Your arms can be down at your sides, palms up or down, or walk your elbows out and rest your hands on your abdomen, somewhere that's comfortable. With each exhale, notice if there's a place in your body that you're holding, and see if you can gently melt it into the earth beneath you. We are so unaware of how much we're holding. So take the time now to slowly work through your body, letting go anywhere that's ready to let go. Feeling the support beneath you. We'll stay for a few more breaths here. When you're ready, roll gently to one side
You'll probably have to press yourself up to sitting to set up for our next pose, which is supported bound angle. And it has a couple of different parts. So I've taken my bolster and set it on top of a block. Now, you may not have a bolster and you may not have a block, but what can you find in your space? Some pillows, some blankets to create an incline that will feel supportive. And take your time to find that setup. And again, make sure that you have some extra props around as we move into the next part. Now, if you have a blanket or big towel, open it to its longest length. If it's a blanket, it can be its second longest length, so that it's nice and wide. And then we're going to roll it into a snake. Roll it up, making this nice, long, and somewhat thick roll. Have your props nearby, within reach. And then we're going to sit at the bottom of the bolster, not on the bolster. Your bottom should be on your mat with the bolster right behind you. And use your arms to slowly support your descent so that you can lie back on your bolster. So first, make sure that this feels like enough support. And if it does, then grab your snaky roll and going to come into this bound angle position, bringing soles of feet together and knees apart. If you can, if you'd like, take your blanket and bring it over your feet, and then pull it up and tuck it underneath your legs so that your knees are supported and your feet are being, it's kind of over your ankles, are being held so that they don't slide away from you. Now, if you have comfortably found this position, take a moment and notice, is it enough support? If the answer is yes, awesome. If not, then take another blanket, take some blocks, place them underneath your knees and find a little more support. You want to be supported enough that you can rest. And now, if your elbows are not touching down, then maybe you can bring a block underneath your elbow or another folded blanket or pillow. Take a moment to have all parts supported in this bound angle position. If your head is dropping back, place a folded blanket or a small pillow underneath your head. Now, if we were in the studio, I'd be running around tucking you all in. But since we are at home, you'll have to use what you have and tuck yourself. Take time to get comfortable so that you can really release into the pose. Letting your head be heavy. Softening your face and jaw, your neck and shoulders. Elbows supported either on the ground or on props. Turn your palms to face up. Soften through the middle body. Let your belly be soft. Hips heavy.
Knees dropping open, but with as much support as you need. So this isn't a big stretch. And if that amount of support is not available to you, then change the position of your legs. You can extend them, you can crisscross them, you can put them back into that constructive rest with your knees dropping in. Relax through your hips, your legs, your ankles, feet, and toes. And we'll stay here for several breaths. When you're ready, slowly unhook your snake. Move your props from under your knees and roll to one side so that you can press into your hands to come up to sitting. So you can set up for the next pose, a supported child's pose. So leaving your setup for bound angle pose, make sure there's something underneath your knees, folded blanket or a pillow or cushion of some sort. Come onto your knees if you can, if that's comfortable. Take your snake and bring it right up into the creases behind your knees. And really kind of drag it up there. Walk your knees out wide, keep your toes together, and then begin to sit back as you would to go into child's pose. And this should give you a little bit of extra support. Have your knees on either side of your bolster. And slowly bring yourself down. Hands on either side of the bolster. You can turn your head to one side. If that's comfortable, you can rest your forehead and have room to breathe. Or you can bring your palms onto the bolster and rest your forehead. Finally, you could bring a pillow or a block that you can rest your forehead on. We won't stay in this one as long. Let's see if you can find comfort in a supported child's pose. If your head is turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the other if that's comfortable for you. And then when you're ready, press into your hands and slowly come up off of your bolster, slide your snake out of the way to the side, and we'll set up for another version of constructive rest pose. Now, if you have a chair or a lower couch that is a good height for you to rest your lower legs on, then go ahead and get yourself into that position with the 90-degree angle at the hips and at the knees. If you do not have that, you can create this little Stonehenge by placing a bolster or a heavy pillow on top of two blocks. And then get close to it so that you can roll onto your back and gently rest your lower legs, your knees on the structure. It's ideal if your feet are supported too. Mine are not in this position. So if you have a chair or couch that you can bring your legs up onto, bring your palms down at your sides or bend your elbows and rest your hands on your abdomen. Grab a cushion or something, a pillow for underneath your head if you would like. And with each exhale, release and let go into the ground beneath you. Allow your legs to be heavy, dropping into the hip sockets. Relaxing through your feet and ankles, your knees and hips. Soften your belly. Allow your shoulders to rest, your shoulder blades to melt into the mat beneath you, your arms resting or supported. Let go through your neck and jaw. Let your tongue be heavy in your mouth. Eyes heavy in the sockets. Soften your face, broadening your cheekbones and smoothing out your brow. Feel a sense of openness at the crown of the head. Release, relax, and just let go. You may stay in this position as long as you're comfortable. and then move into Shavasana. Taking a deep rest. Light born from darkness, dawn born from night, hope born from quiet, waiting for the light. Spring born from winter, spark struck from sun, strength born from calling for the spring to come. Tonight the dark is waiting, longing to be gone. Tonight the earth is turning, facing toward the dawn. What are you honoring and releasing? What are you awakening to? What are you returning to? What are you calling in? Begin to deepen your breath, making small movements with fingers and toes. When you feel ready, carefully roll to one side, bringing your legs down if they're up. Pausing before pressing into your hands and making your way up to sitting. Allow your attention to stay deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community that we create when we practice together. If you'd like to join, bringing hands to heart center, we'll inhale together. Om. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Jai Bhagwan. May the light in you be victorious. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with each other throughout this entire year. Wishing you much peace, comfort, and joy in the new year.